It's a university at in Baltimore, Maryland, Notre Dame, Maryland University. I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm cooking right now.
You
But
good, you good,
every
you good, you good. Oh, why? Oh, why?
Your
yeah,
face you got me going crazy.
Oh, my mouth, man.
Crazy. Yeah, what we ready
I
to
hope
talk about
everyone's
today,
been
man?
fun. All right.
What'd you say, Ben?
I hope everyone's been fun, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I've been good. Been chilling.
Yeah. Hey, bro, you got anything you want to talk about today? Man.
Yeah, like how do you? I was thinking, how do you battle lust and worldly things?
Ooh. All right, go ahead.
That's a huge one right there. Lust and worldly things.
Yeah.
I think that's something that Satan is using to distract a whole lot of men from reaching their potential growth.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That's definitely one of the hardest things, you know what I'm saying? With my walk with Christ is fighting the lust and the worldly things, bro. It definitely is, bro.
Yeah, it's a sin with me. I'm not even gonna lie. The
Yeah.
same thing. I think another one is swearing too. I've been trying to try my best to not swear lately.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of my biggest problems, cousin.
That one is definitely one of the two right there. I mean, I've been doing less of it though because I've been reading my word,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm noticing it's gradually going away.
Mm.
But I still struggle with it. I know I'm not the only one that struggles with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's actually one of my biggest problems, like speaking deaf. Not even just like saying like real cuss words, but like just like things like complaining
Mm-hmm.
and like judging, stuff like that, like degrading others, like gossiping,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. All that is bad. So something I've been working on.
Yeah, me too, bro.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot.
Me too, bro.
Bearing fault with it.
Like when I'm upset, you feel me? When I'm upset and something has really irritated me or upset me, bro, I be going too far sometimes. Like with the stuff I be saying, the stuff I be thinking, and like I notice that when I say certain stuff and I think certain stuff when I'm upset, it leads into into other things like fleshly things that I wouldn't have done. I feel like if I wasn't so like if I didn't start off doing like a fleshly thing, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yes,
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
think so.
it's a lot of bad habits. Like I'm not gonna lie, when I was in high school, yeah, especially like my earliest year in high school, ninth grade, 10th grade, I had a huge pornography addiction, something like that.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm telling you, and it's mostly because that's why I made a video about it. I don't know if you guys saw that. No, you two definitely saw the video. I made a video about well, watch out with the types of music and the things y'all watching when you're using the internet because that is something that Satan is using. He's using the internet to poison and destroy, our minds and to distract us from reaching our potential goals, things that we know that are our priorities.
facts.
And
Yeah.
that's something that he's doing, especially for the younger ones. He's trying to make sure the younger ones they expose themselves to things that they're not supposed to be exposing themselves to at their age. Like these are things that adults should be knowing, not young kids. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, yeah, facts. That's facts.
Yeah.
Like the amount of access little kids have to all these, you know what I'm saying, like explicit things is actually kind of crazy. And that's really how it starts for
Yeah.
real. If I'm gonna keep it a buck, bro, the whole way I feel like low key I even got, and I don't know if it's the same for y'all, but I even got into like, you know what I'm saying, like even doing that masturbation stuff, bro, was because
Yeah.
I saw something when I was a kid and it started something up that did not stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So
I'm
like,
telling you
yeah.
that's something I struggled with a lot. I've been doing that's something that I struggle with once in a while. I'm going to keep 100 with you. It's been I struggled with it like ever since I can say maybe like I was 6 or 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? Masturbation, like I like that thing, like I don't know, man. Like it's shameful for even me even saying it, bro. I ain't
Mm,
gonna lie to you.
mm. Nah, yeah.
Nah, bro, ain't nothing to be ashamed of, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was struggling with that since like 12, bro. I remember the first time I did it, bro. It's like really like my cousin introduced me to it for real. And like even him, like even when he found God, like he had to apologize for even introducing me to that because look, man, like my big brother. So it's like whatever he did, I did. That's really how it started. But I feel like beginning of this year, this when I really like stopped and I really got better with like lustful stuff. And then I still
Yeah, same with me.
like with just girls and like actually like having sex. Like that was a problem that I wasn't surrendered to in that area of my life. But once I like truly like turned away from that and I truly started to have love for God, it's like it became easier to stop doing it. And it's like I just cut off like the patterns and the thing that would lead me to do those things like seeing lustful girls on Instagram and stuff, or like when lustful girls text me and stuff, and just ignore it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like patterns. You gotta catch yourself and just gotta choose not to put yourself in that situation where you know you're gonna fall. So yeah,
Right.
bro.
Yeah, it's that Jezebel spirit, that Jezebel spirit.
That's where, yeah, because that's
Yeah.
something we all struggle with, bro. We males, you feel me? And
Yeah,
it's not necessarily wrong to feel like that. The I think the thing that makes it wrong is the fact that it's a certain order that it's supposed to be in. You know what I'm saying? The Lord wants us to like we only do that type of stuff with one woman in a marriage because that's his covenantal
yeah,
order that he has to protect
yeah,
us. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes it wrong. You know what I'm saying? When we do it
yeah,
outside of his order. So yeah, it's something we all struggle
yeah,
with, bro. Because in this like world, bro, it's just so highly put in our face and promoted that it's like, yeah, you feel me? But
yeah. They try to normalize sex and all that stuff like it's something good, it's something righteous when really it's unrighteous. And I tell people this: God said wait for marriage, not because He doesn't want you to have a good time, but He knows the consequences and the repercussions that go after it happens. Soul ties, all of that. Children, you
mm,
being connected to a person. Like
mm,
God has His reasons. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? It's not because He doesn't want you to have a fun time, but He has His reasons. That's not how He created it.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
facts.
He
that's
created
right.
the world created porn and all that stuff is just demonic.
Yeah, it really is, bro.
Yeah, and the reason why, like back to what you were saying earlier about like the kids and stuff, like it's called conditioning, bro. Like that's saying trying to condition people. And that's why young people like when they start young, they try and get them young, so they grew up in that. So it's hard to find guys. It's hard to like leave those ways you grew up on it. It's really the
Yeah,
same condition people while they're young, so it seems normal. Like
yeah,
like they normalize the Epstein files, bro. Like nobody even talks about it no more, and that's like a big thing where like demonic stuff was being exposed, and it's like now it's like a joke on TikTok, bro. Like
Nah, for real,
everything's so like pushed past.
for real.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
and all
bad.
this, I'm not gonna lie to you, from Josie. All this is just more proof and more evidence that Jesus Christ is coming back soon. It's just more proof and more evidence.
Mm-hmm. Bro. I want like what I wonder what parts of the Bible I could probably look it up if y'all know, but what parts of the Bible like talks about lust and control and stuff like that, and how to like overcome it. The most I feel like I know about it is the part with Samson and stuff like that when he y'all know about Samson.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Samson. Oh
long
yeah,
hair.
that story.
Or is that the one with the long hair, or is that the one that has 700 wives?
That's the one with
No, it's
long.
the one with the light hair.
Yeah, the long hair. That like he was a warrior and God like blessed him with like super strength and all that type of stuff. And he was like beloved amongst all his people and stuff like that. And he ended up drawing away from God because of women who had other idols and shit like that. And sorry,
Yeah,
my fault, and things like that. And it like it I forgot exactly what happened, but
I know what happened. That's when
I know.
like
I
she
know what
was like
happened.
yeah, she was like a traitor for real, and she was trying to figure out like where how he got his power, so she could tell like his enemies and stuff, and then like he
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
finally
because she was a Philistine woman, and the Philistines, they were trying to their best to capture Samson, especially since Samson, because during this time I believe it's in the Bible that Israel, they didn't have a single king, and the Philistines were the Israelites' masters.
Yeah.
So Samson, he killed like 1,000, 2,000 men. I forgot the number. I believe it was 2,000 men when they captured him because Samson he destroyed their livestock and everything. And I believe another thing that made Samson also do it was because he got angry. I know the full story. He got angry because initially that Delilah, which was the Philistine woman, that wasn't the only girl he first wanted to marry. The one he first wanted to marry, they killed that Philistine girl, and that's like really what upset Samson and got him mad. And I believe that his downfall was women.
it. Yeah, exactly. You feel me? That was basically
I'm
his
about to
whole
say,
story. But I wonder
yo,
what
you
other
like know
parts.
like a lot, though.
Yeah, look, yeah, you
Like
know,
the
yeah, that's
fact
what I'm
that you
saying.
remember like all that like on top of your head, that's kind of crazy.
You know, ball, bro. Trying
No,
to get
that's
like
all I'm
that.
trying to get, bro. Like, yeah, like I be knowing, but it's like I can't like say like the certain like script
Yeah,
like the exact verse that it's coming
like
from and stuff.
yeah, like I really only be knowing like the general moral of the story, but I kind of like I'm
Yeah,
not familiar enough with it to like remember all of the the key details because they're also important too. But yeah, I wonder what other stories. Shit, I can look that up real quick for real. See what other stories are in there. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. What should I ask? Like what other like lessons in the Bible does it teach about lust and like what part and stuff like that?
ask how did people in the Bible overcome lust?
Or how did people in the Bible overcome lust? And give me the scripture of where that's at. Make it short and simple. ChatGPT chatting too much. Says people in the Bible overcame lust mainly by fleeing temptation, relying on God, and renewing their mind. Oh yeah, Joseph was. Oh yeah. Okay, all right, bet. So fleeing temptation, which is Genesis 39:12. Joseph ran away from Potiphar's wife. I remember that. Y'all remember Joseph?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah, that was
remember.
just
Yeah,
trying to set him up.
Yeah, she's trying. No, she wasn't trying to set him up. But I don't know if y'all watched the movie. It's not the Prince of
she was
Egypt,
trying to have sex with him.
but
She was trying to have sex with him. That's what
yeah,
was going on.
yeah, because look, he started out, he was the one who I'm pretty sure he was the one, yeah, he was the one he had like 11 older brothers or 12 older brothers, and he was the youngest one at the time, and his father loved him so much because he was the youngest one, and I'm pretty sure like God like gave his father some type of message. He had gifts. He was the one who saw dreams, and he could translate people's dreams and stuff like that. And his
Yeah,
brothers got jealous because
Bro, we talked about this with Pastor, bro.
yeah, exactly.
I remember.
His brothers got jealous. His brothers got jealous because his dad treated him different.
loved him more.
Yeah, not loved him. Yeah, they treated him more special. So his brothers sold him out to slavery, set him up, and threw him in like a ditch and stuff like that. And then that's when he became a slave, and he worked his way all the way up into being um like a slave in the house, which is like a high, you know what I'm saying, honor type job. And when he was a slave in the house, he became like the best one. And the slave master or the person who was in charge was, I'm pretty sure, Potiphar. And he was working so good, and Potiphar's wife, like one time they were in a position where it was just them alone, and Potiphar's wife tried to sleep with him, and he denied it. He ran away. You feel me? But she lied
Yeah,
on him. She lied on him and told him that she tried to sleep with him, even though it was the other way
yeah,
around, and she was trying to sleep with him. You feel me? But eventually, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But eventually all of that stuff passed. Like he got thrown into jail for a while, but he still trusted in the Lord. And that's the story where he planted a tree in jail and it grew up all the fruits. And eventually Potiphar's wife told the truth and said that she was the one trying to sleep with him, and he became the prince of
oh yeah,
yeah. He became the king of Egypt or something like that. And also the reason why he became the king of Egypt was because he was able to translate um the king's dream, because that's what he was good at. And then when he translates the king's dream, they were able to plan for what to do in the future. And that's when his
now he
brother.
used to be a lot. Yo, Josie,
Mhm.
so I'm sorry to interrupt you. I
No,
don't
you
think
good,
he
you good.
became the king of Egypt. I think he was part of the government
Oh
in
yeah, part of the
Egypt.
government. Yeah,
He
that's what
was
it
the
was.
first
Yeah,
to defeat it.
yeah. He
Yeah,
was he was like at a certain high position government in Egypt, that controlled basically
Yeah,
like what they were doing and stuff like that. Not the king. You're right. Good correction. But then once he did become that, his brothers came and his father had another young son, and he recognized his brothers, but his brothers didn't recognize him since he was like, you know what I'm saying, now like the top leader, top guy type thing. And then he tested his brothers to see if they would sell his brother, sell the little brother out. But he realized he forgave them because they were actually sorry for what they did, because not knowing that it was him, they told him the truth, that they feel so bad that they lost a younger brother before because they were selfish and they don't want to lose another one. So they all sacrificed themselves under his test to save their other brother, because he had like put a test on them to see what they would do. But yeah.
I and and I think what happened in the dream initially, and this is one of the most beautiful things about God. He
Mm,
can turn your situation that is disastrous into something that is good when you just look at Joseph's story.
mm,
Because with Joseph, the thing with Joseph is that it looked like it was all over. He was gone away from his family. Now he was in jail for something he didn't do. And a lot of people during those times, jail was not something easy or anything. A lot of people died because of diseases and all that. They had little food and all that,
mm,
and yet God still protected him. And God used that situation to change his life forever and his family's life forever. Because during that time, when he was thrown in jail, there was two other people I believe that was with him. I
yeah,
forgot their names, but he interpreted their dreams. One of the person they didn't believe, but one that he interpreted the dream, and he said that the person was going to get killed, but the king was going to kill that person. The other one, I believe, what was the dream? I believe it has something to do with wine, and that he would earn his position back as
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yo, you got
and then it
outstanding
would be the,
memory. Uh-huh.
yeah, I
Oh,
think it was
I
like
remember.
2 years
Like a
later.
chef.
You remember?
Yeah. Hmm.
My bad. But yeah, I remember he was like a chef, and then like he like once he was got freed and stuff, that's the one who told the king about like how Joseph had interpreted his dreams when he was in jail, and then that's when the king came, and then Joseph interpreted his dream. Shit. I remember we
Yeah.
learned this in Bible study, bro, with Pastor.
Yeah. Nah, and that story is real good too, because one, like that was the one where it shows like you flee from temptation, you feel me, and good things happen after that. Because who knows what would have happened if he gave in, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that,
Oh my goodness.
two, his, I think the biggest thing was his faith in the Lord. Like with the whole time he was in
Yeah.
there, he really kept his faith strong for real. It was a
Yeah. And notice something that he said when he wanted the lady, when Potiphar's wife tried to sleep with him, he
mhm.
didn't do it because of Potiphar. He did it because of God.
Mm,
If you remember, Joseph was like, "How can I commit this evil, this wickedness, in front of God's eyes?" He didn't say Potiphar's wife because I believe Joseph probably would have done it if it wasn't for God in that scenario, because Potiphar was not there; he was gone. And
yeah,
thing. And imagine the amount of disaster and trouble that would have led her probably getting pregnant, or Potiphar eventually find out, or someone finding out. And like, thank God Joseph didn't do that, and he had faith in God and he had the fear of God.
yeah, fact.
Yeah,
Exactly, bro.
he was obedient because that was a great temptation, bro. Like you gotta think about like in modern terms, like imagine like your homeboy got a good looking girl and like
Yeah,
you think she look good, but like not do that 'cause that's a sin. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
then like, he all of a sudden throw herself at you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Trying to crush. But it's like you gotta be strong enough not to do that. You know what I'm saying, bro?
exactly.
Like that's
fact.
that's truly somebody that's surrendered.
Yeah, it's facts, bro.
No, 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 go, no, go.
Who, me?
No, the ant. I interrupted him. Go.
Oh, I was done.
Oh, my bad. No, I was saying that that's one of the most beautiful things about having the fear of the Lord, having the fear of God. Because imagine during that time, Egypt was one of, because when you think about it, when you're reading the Bible and you start to create an imagery in your mind, you can understand how like beautiful and how powerful God is, and why you should have the fear of God. Think about it.
Facts.
Egypt was one of the greatest civilizations during the time. It was probably like the United States back in the time.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure they had multiple good looking females, multiple good looking women. And what I in my head I was comparing Potiphar's wife to like a model and all that stuff,
Hmm.
because the Potiphar, he was in the highest positions in the government during that time.
Hmm.
So I was gonna say, I was thinking that Joseph probably would have done it, but the reason why he didn't do it was because of God
Exactly. And then
and
and
because he
then
had the fear of God.
yeah, and the thing that's even more beautiful is that God really has a plan beyond your own, what I'm saying, existence, bro. Joseph's plan that whole
Yeah,
time was just to be a good slave to work his way up until, what I'm saying, whatever. He would have probably never thought that
yeah.
he would be in charge of the government and someday have Potiphar's job and take over with his own family and his own kids in that palace as the leader. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
And
goodness!
like
In the one of the greatest civilizations, if not the greatest
exactly.
civilizations in the world,
Exactly,
especially
bro.
where he came from.
Exactly, bro. That's why it's really important to really understand that when God calls you to something, He tells you to something to do it because it's gonna be so much greater than you think. Like Abraham, bro. Abraham was the one
Yeah,
with who had the wife and they were gonna have a kid. They were gonna have kids, but when they were older, like way older, and because he stayed patient and stayed
yeah.
faithful, he is the descendant. Like everybody is the descendant of Abraham. That's what it says in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And then wait, then there's another person. The other person who was gonna sacrifice his son was also descendants of everybody. And yeah,
Abraham.
you.
That's Abraham.
Oh, that was Abraham.
Yeah, that's Abraham because that's when Abraham was much older. Because remember, Abraham had two kids because his wife, I believe, initially couldn't give birth. So like he slept with his wife's servant
Oh,
who was from Egypt during that time,
yeah.
and she had Abraham's child. And then
Yo, and
that's
you
when
know,
I believe
you, mhm. Nah, you know what's crazy about that? The people I don't know. This is just something someone said to me in a Bible study. But the kid that that he slept with, right? The woman that he slept with that was not his wife, right? The kid that they had because they didn't really.
yeah,
That was I feel like that was a simple thing. You know what I'm saying? Because one, you slept with someone else outside your marriage, and two, you did not trust in the Lord's plan. Like I
and I
forgot.
know he sinned.
Yeah, and then in in a Bible study, someone was like telling me how like that kid that he had, I forgot the name, but it was the leader of like the Islam culture and all that stuff like that, which gives off a whole nother
Yeah,
religion. You feel me? So it's like it shows
the
the
Antichrist
consequence.
religion.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother topic, but it shows the consequence and stuff like that. So yeah, but now what's he about to say? Bad my fault.
No, 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 you good. What I was saying was that that's one of the most beautiful things about the Lord. Like Abraham, you basically explained it. He sinned. God could have been like, oh, okay, because you sinned, then no. But then he probably thought about Abraham's wife
Mm,
because women nowadays they want to have children. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
But I mean, that's expected. Yeah. And Abraham's wife wanted a child. And think about it, this just shows you that nothing is impossible when you have God. Abraham's wife was like I believe in the 90s. And during that time, especially now, like that is very rare. Like that's impossible because her womb was dead. Abraham's sperm cells were dead. I don't want to go into all that detail, but
hmm,
it just shows you how powerful God is and how He can change things. Like it looked like it was over. Like there was no way they would have kid. Especially when I was reading my Bible, there's something I believe that Abraham did, and like the Lord decided to not speak with him.
yeah.
So it looked like imagine what Abraham was thinking. He felt like his relationship in time with God was probably over, but God didn't give up on him. And then also the Israelites didn't it say in the Bible they were like descendants of Abraham.
Yeah.
Yes, bro, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I was just reading about that in Matthew today because I wanted to learn more about Jesus and like when he was born. And like the Pharisees and like the Sadducees who were like beefing basically, but like they both hated Jesus. They were like they were thinking that just because Abraham was their father, they think that they was like better than everybody, and they was prideful and boastful about that. And they thought they didn't get into heaven just because of who Abraham was.
Yo, and it
yeah.
gets
I don't know
into
if
I'm
that.
that's
It,
telling
true.
you.
it gets into all that detail in season 4, bro. Keep watching, bro. I'm trying to tell you, you're gonna love it, bro. But nah,
But I'm gonna get
but nah. Facts though, like
Yeah,
that. This right here it says with God all things are possible. You feel me? When God makes a promise, bro, anything is possible. Like anything is possible. Like it's literally with God all things are possible. So yeah, it's facts, man.
yeah. I learned that one
yeah.
time that God goes by His word. He never changes His word. If
Yeah.
He says something's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like there's nobody can stop it. They can try their best. It's going to happen at one point.
Exactly. And then the other things, it says in here, it gave the example as, you know what I'm saying, Joseph, and then it says, ask God for strength and purity, create in me a clean heart. Um and that's Psalms, and that's facts. You know what I'm saying? Once I feel like when you in that situation where you leading to temptation, you have to flee and then ask God for a clean heart, because it's like your old self and your old heart and your old flesh will like desire those things, as like, you know what I'm saying, it'll just naturally desire it. So when you ask for a clean heart, and like it resets it, and I feel like I've definitely felt that before. And then control your thoughts is a big one. It says think on what is pure, and that's facts, bro. When you're led into temptation, or you're trying to fight lust, you have to think pure thoughts, you feel me? Like and I've practiced doing that before. Like if I'm talking to a girl or something like that, or if it's anything, to control my lust, I try to be like, ew, no, I don't want to think of her like that, or I don't want to think of it like that. I want to think of it
Yeah,
in like the pure ways. You feel what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's something I do every day, bro. I just had to do that like multiple times today, bro. Like every
yeah,
time, like I think like they're like even like about like my teammates stuff like in lustful man,
mm,
like a lustful way, like I always like ask God to take that thought off my head 'cause I know that's not of you, and
yeah,
I know that's probably not even my thought,
facts,
Yo,
you know, because some you don't even
yo.
try to be the enemy, but
facts.
Yeah, and that's
yeah,
why and another thing, what you said, Josie, earlier about having a clean heart.
Mm,
This is the reasons why the Pharisees said. I was reading my Bible like 2 weeks ago, reading the book of Matthew, and to me, God was basically showing me the reason why the Pharisees couldn't understand Jesus, why they didn't connect and relate. The reason why is because Jesus was not prideful. The Pharisees were prideful, and
hmm,
they didn't go by their word. Their
exactly,
hearts were not right.
exactly.
Their hearts. And this is one of the most things about why I tell people do not make God get angry with you, because this is Jesus Christ
Mm,
in Matthew 20 verse 23. Yeah, this is when Jesus he rebuked the scribes and Pharisees because they did something in his temple, and Jesus had enough. You guys go see where I'm going here. This is
yeah,
why you do not make God angry. He said right here then Jesus spoke to the multitude. Can I read it? It's okay
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
if I read.
Of course.
Then Jesus spoke to the multitudes and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. Therefore, whatever they tell you to observe, that observe and do, but do not do according to their works, for they say and do not do. For they bind heavy burdens hard to bear and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers. But all their works they do to be seen by men. They make their phylacteries broad and enlarge the borders of their garments. They love the best places at feasts, the best seats in the synagogues, greetings in the marketplace, and to be called by men Rabbi, Rabbi. But you do not be called Rabbi, for one is your teacher, the Christ, and you are all brethren. Do not call anyone on earth your father, for one is your Father, he who is in heaven. And do not be called teachers, for one is your teacher, the Christ. But he who is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and he who humbles himself will be exalted. So there's more, but in this part, Jesus right here, he exposed the Pharisees and scribes to the people for who they truly are,
Yo,
that they were lukewarm Christians right there.
yeah,
But do you guys see where I'm going? Do
bro.
you guys see where I'm
I
going?
know where you're going, bro. That's exactly what I was gonna say
Look,
next.
you know how they say that you watch with your tongue,
Mm,
what the things you say. You guys see where I'm going? The things
yeah,
you say, there's power in the tongue. This is God we're talking about right here.
mm,
So this is one of the reasons he said, "Do not let God be angry at you," and this is God speaking, Jesus. Now, do you guys see where I'm going? I'm about to show you something.
yeah,
But woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the
yo,
kingdom of heaven
yeah,
against men.
yeah,
For you neither go in yourself. Look, he said, for you neither go in yourself. This is God talking right here. Nor do you allow those who are entering to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour windows, houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. Therefore, you receive greater condemnation. You see what Jesus is
yo.
saying there?
Yo, and when I watched this in The Chosen, this exact scene that he's talking about is in The Chosen. That,
Yeah.
bro, it gave me goosebumps, bro. Like, I'm trying to tell you,
Yeah.
you gotta watch it and continue, Ben, because I'm gonna say something after you that
Yeah.
I also realized. But continue.
Yeah. You see where I'm going there?
Yeah,
You see
yeah,
where I'm going?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you travel land and sea to win one proselyte, and when he is won, you make him twice as much a son of hell as yourself. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, "Whoever swears by the temple, it is nothing, but whoever swears by the gold of the temple, he is obliged to perform it." Fools and blind. The Bible warns us to not call anyone a fool. This is Jesus calling them a fool. Fools and blind. For which is greater, the gold or the temple that sanctifies the gold? And whoever swears by the altar, it is nothing. But whoever swears by the gift that is on it, he is obliged to perform it. Fools and blind, for which is greater, the gift or the altar that sanctifies the gift? Therefore, he who swears by the altar swears by it, and by all things on it. He who swears by the temple swears by it, and by him who dwells in it. And he who swears by heaven swears by the throne of God, and by him who sits on it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For I'm sorry, guys, it's long. Okay?
Nah, keep going, keep going.
For you pour out of mint and anise and cumin, and have neglected the waiter matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. These you ought to have done, without leaving the others undone. Blind guides, who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you cleanse the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of this one right here, scary. But inside they are full of extortion and self indulgence. Blind Pharisees, first cleanse the inside of the cup and dish, that the outside of them may be clean also. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs. This is Jesus talking right here. And you notice that he's saying this out of his mouth, and the Bible told us there's a power in the words when you're speaking. So
Mm-hmm.
here, that means that the Pharisees, the scribes, they got Jesus like they got Jesus mad and upset, and Jesus
Yeah,
already explained and told to the world that he is God, and he showed them that you're going to end up in the lake of fire for doing this. Do you see where I'm going
bruh.
right here?
I see, bro.
Yeah. Yo,
You
can
see
I
where I'm
add
going?
something, bro? Because it's crazy because they was already warned. That's probably why Jesus was so mad because John the Baptist even warned them when Jesus was baptized to
Yeah.
to like not do these things, and he basically told them about. So he called them a brood of vipers, basically meaning that they're
Mm-hmm.
hypocrites, that they're
Yeah. Yeah. Do
and
you
like
see
they're
what I'm saying?
Yo, and
Y'all
bro,
yeah.
see what I'm
keep
saying right here?
watching it, bro. Yo, and you gotta
No,
watch at least 2, 3 episodes a
I
day, bro.
seen that clip. I
Uh,
seen the clip on TikTok like earlier this morning where he was saying when he was talking to the Pharisees saying
yeah,
like they're like a cup and then they're dirty on the inside and
yeah,
then they wash the
Ooh.
outside.
yeah.
And,
And
and
peep, I was just saying that the other day too in one of the Bible study talks too, bro.
Yeah, you did say that. I remember. I remember.
And if you remember that the Bible tells us there's power and death when it comes to the tongue. And think about this is God. This is God that is speaking right here.
Mm,
So this is why we should have the fear of God, and why you should try your best to not make God angry at you.
mm,
Do you guys see where I'm going right here?
yeah,
Yeah.
Which indeed beautiful outwardly. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which indeed appear beautiful outwardly, but inside are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness. Even so, you are also outwardly appear righteous to men, but inside you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. This is Jesus speaking. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! Because you build the tombs of the prophets and adore the monuments of the righteous, and say, "If we had lived in the days of our fathers, we would not have been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Therefore, you are witness against yourselves that you are the sons of those who murder the prophets." This is what Jesus is saying
yo,
out of his mouth.
mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my goodness. Fill up then measure of your father's guilt. Serpents, blood of vipers. How can you escape the condemnation of hell? That one scared me right there. I'm going to read that part again. Therefore, you are witness against yourselves that you are sons of those who murder the prophets. Fill up then the measure of your father's guilt. Serpents, blood of vipers. How can you escape the condemnation of hell? That one scared me right there.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That
He
one scared me.
basically said they're
So
cooked.
that showed me that. Yeah, that's what you now you see you get
Yeah,
why you see where I'm going. I was like, whoa.
yeah.
And this why people that say that Jesus is not God. I'm sorry, the Bible wants us to not call anyone foolish, but I can understand why the God said that whoever says that there's no God, that person is a fool. This is Jesus Christ saying that he's God, basically right there.
Yeah, bro. Bro. There's two things I want to say on that. But nah, Ant, bro, and you too, Ben, bro. I don't know if you watched it, bro, on Prime Video, bro. Ant, bro. I'm trying to tell you, get by it quicker, bro. Watch like 3 episodes a day if you have time, bro. But yeah, there was also a part in the Chosen that definitely like clearly stated that like Jesus was like God, because the I forgot what part it is, but you know when he went back his hometown, everybody was, you know what I'm saying, like doubting him and stuff like that, and nobody really like believed in him.
Yeah,
When he went back after doing a whole lot of miracles and stuff like that, like all the Pharisees, you know, and the teachers and religious leaders, they were, you know, kind of like already building hate for Jesus. When he went back to his hometown and stuff like that, there was a religious teacher there too, and he was teaching in one of the I don't know if it's synagogue, church, whatever it's called, but he was teaching in one of the churches, and I don't know how to repeat. I don't know the whole part, but basically, bro, he was trying to accuse him of blasphemy. Like the guy in his hometown was trying to accuse the teacher in his hometown was trying to accuse him of blasphemy. Mind you, this is someone who knew him since he was a little boy, and he said something about the law of Moses, and then Jesus was like, "I am the law of Moses." You feel me?
I love that part. That one, yeah,
bro
that was in my mind
bro
right
in
there.
the bro
I love that
in
part
this
there.
series, bro, it was so tough, bro. It gave me goosebumps, bro. He stepped up to him and said, "I am the law of Moses." And when he said that, bro, it brought so much realization to me. And when he said that, they got so mad because they thought it was blasphemy. They tried to kill him, and that's the first time he almost died right there. They're gonna stone him and throw him off a cliff, but it wasn't his time, and he simply just walked away. You know what I'm saying? And that's when, after that, everything kind of went. That's when he was about to start getting crucified. That's when he was gonna start going to the other cities and preaching and stuff like that. But that was so tough, bro. Like him saying that he is the law of Moses and all that stuff like that. And because the reason why he had to say that too is because they were so like infatuated with the old testimony and the old law that they were looking past everything new that was right there in front of their face and couldn't see, like, or
Yeah,
couldn't believe in Jesus right there. And yeah, bro. But
and that's why Jesus. That's why I said that's why Jesus and were you trying to say something?
no, go ahead.
Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's why Jesus. That's why the Pharisees and Jesus, they weren't connected. That's why the Pharisees couldn't understand Jesus. There was a part where there was a woman that was caught in adultery, and
Mm.
you know something I noticed about the Pharisees and scribes, they didn't have forgiveness and love in their
Yeah,
heart.
not at all. They were they
That's
were they
the
were dirty, bro.
they were prideful. They said they looked down on people. They would. I'm saying, think about it.
Yeah.
A woman that was caught in adultery, things that people, and this is why I get annoyed when people say that they believe they will survive in the Old Testament. When I tell them, look at the things that we do nowadays. Some of the things that they were doing that we do nowadays, they'll be killed instantly, or God will punish them. But anyways,
hmm
they were about to stone a woman just because of that.
hmm
Things that I'm pretty sure anyone here, anyone in this meeting, we've committed adultery. I'm guessing not committed adultery because we're not married, but
Yeah.
you guys get you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
hmm
They wanted to stone a woman, but because of Jesus' grace, love, and mercy, he said, "Let anyone who has not sinned before cast, but throw the first stone." And they couldn't. They
Mm.
couldn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't. And then I loved it. And you know what's so beautiful about Jesus Christ? He could have stoned the lady right there, then and there, and killed the lady right then and there, because Jesus never sinned before, but he didn't do it. He said that go and sin no more. Your sins are forgiven. He showed mercy, grace, and love there, and that's one of the most beautiful things
Bro.
about Jesus Christ,
Bro.
right there.
And the craziest thing is, bro, like that's how he wants all of us to be, bro. And that really hit me one night. You feel me? When I was really just sitting there thinking, I'm like, the reason why the Lord wants us to be this way is because if we were all like that, bro, this whole world would just be sweet and amazing. Like if we were
Yeah,
all forgiving people, you know what I'm saying? Like if we all turn the cheek whenever someone did something to us wrong, like everything would be peaceful. Pride and all these other things is what makes the world chaotic. You know what I'm saying? All these things that you see in the Bible, lust and all these things, that's what makes the world chaotic, bro. You feel me?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
but facts, but nah, bro, I really encourage y'all. I know I keep like glazing it, but I really encourage y'all to watch The Chosen, bro. All of this stuff is in The Chosen. The way they acted out is so good. But the next part I was gonna say though,
Yeah, I'm telling you,
bro,
according to the Bible,
mm, but nah, yeah,
according,
nah, go ahead.
I love the Chosen one. I love the Chosen Man. That one was good.
Yeah,
The only part I didn't that got me sad. I didn't cry, but it hurt me really badly.
mm,
Was Jesus' death, the way they whipped him.
yeah,
I mean, you hear the parts that I don't know if you guys know I mean, the things Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, went through when he was dying on the cross. You can't even imagine. Even the movies right there, it's nothing compared to how it actually really happened. I heard that his heart bursted, something like that.
mm-hmm,
His whole heart bursted, that his whole spine was shown off. Like you could see everything. I believe it says in the Bible that you couldn't tell whether he was man or woman. Like everything was just completely destroyed. Anything, and he did it because of our love. And this just shows you why Jesus Christ is so loving. He did it for the Pharisees. He did it for those people that were mocking him.
mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he even did it for the Antichrist and the false prophet.
Yeah,
He
he did
did
it
it
for
for all.
everybody.
He did it for all of us. You and people that he could. But here's one of the most beautiful things. It wasn't the ending. It looked like it was the ending, but it wasn't. Because those same people that were disrespecting our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, they're going to be the same people on Judgment Day that are going to be asking for mercy and forgiveness. Because in the Bible, it said that every tongue, every knee will confess that Jesus Christ is Lord.
Mm,
And that's one of the most. There's a guy I was listening to, and Pastor Philip Anthony Mitchell. I don't know if you guys know who he is. I love him. Right there, and what I'm saying, that's what he was basically saying. I was like, wow, man, Jesus, so amazing, beautiful.
nah, facts,
Yeah.
facts. And then two things to go off that is, yeah, bro. And the crazy part is in the series, The Chosen, it never shows the part where he got crucified because it ends off in the part where Judas betrayed him. But I think because the Jesus was such a spiritual connected person too, is that I don't know. I would not be able to tell. But to me, in the series, it looks like him being betrayed and him being doubted against amongst his own disciples hurt almost as much as him being crucified. Because that night
Yeah,
that night he was crying out to the Lord when he felt like Judas was about to betray him, and when he felt all these things around him, he felt all these things. That's the night he was crying out to the Lord and asking if anything else could be done. And he said he felt so hurt inside. You know what I'm saying? So before he even felt the physical pain, he felt the pain of betrayal. And he felt the pain of all these things like spiritually and stuff like that. So that shows a lot.
because he knew it was gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly.
He knew Judas eventually was going to betray him. So he knew what was going to happen,
Mhm.
and he knew the trouble he was going to have to go through.
Yeah.
And I believe he even said that the disciples they were, because it was so late at night, they were so tired. Like that just shows you how loving Jesus Christ is. And that same day,
Mm.
the same day, Peter, I believe, denied him 3 times and stuff.
Yeah.
So like it just shows you like how merciful and loving our Father is.
Bruh.
Like because
Mm.
we're people off from dirt.
Yeah,
He
nah.
can decide to wipe us out.
Exactly, and they acted it, bro. The acting was so good. I know what you're talking about. At night, the disciples were supposed to keep a guard because he knew the Pharisees were gonna come after him, and they kept falling
And he was
asleep. They kept falling asleep. They didn't mean to, you know what I'm saying, but they were fighting their flesh, you know what I'm saying. And Jesus just looked at them, and there's a scene that showed up where he looked at them like they were kids, and at one point he kind of just smiled and moved on and forgave them, you know what I'm saying, because like they were tired. But bro. And then he was also having visions of, I think this is what I'm pretty sure it was. He was having visions of blood on the wall, which was him. And like in the Bible, like the lamb of the blood is like a sacrifice or something like that, or the blood of the lamb is like a
Yes.
sacrifice, and he was having visions of blood on the wall, which is supposedly I think supposed to be him, and that's what like that he kept realizing that he is going to be a sacrifice, and then he had a vision of him going to and Pastor Andrew was talking to this in his past preaching today, and I'm reading Ezekiel, so it really hit me. Yo, Aunt, you gotta watch this whole thing, bro. I'm trying to tell you, but it
Yeah,
really hit me.
this one.
He had a vision, or he had some type of dream or something like that, of him in the land of his with Ezekiel when there was a whole lot of bones, and it was dry dead bones, and Ezekiel was like I literally just read this last night, and I've been reading Ezekiel, but Ezekiel said something, but he was asking God, could these bones be made new or restored or something like that? And the Lord said yes, yes, and then they were like restored. And I'm still looking into the whole meaning behind it, but it did hit off somewhere. But yeah, that's just me chatting about what was in the chosen and that what led up into all that relating into what you were talking about, Ben. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna say another thing, but I'm gonna let y'all go real quick. But what you guys say about that, Ant?
Uh,
Oh, you got Lee
like the
version?
part about a part about like God, like him like finding out that he was the sacrifice. I feel like that was scary within itself because I know that Jesus, he was scared knowing what he had to do. Like imagine like knowing that you got to be crucified, knowing that you got to be whipped so your spine can be shown, knowing that you're gonna have your testicles cut off. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that
Mm,
you're gonna have to walk
Oh, yeah, that
and carry
happened.
the cross. Like it's crazy, bro. Have thorns like put into your skull, bro. Like knowing that you have to do all this, knowing that you're gonna be betrayed
yeah,
by the
I
ones that
even
you
heard
grew up.
that they believed that Jesus was blinded in the when they because they whipped. Not only did they whip in the back, they whipped him in the front, and they said that it got in their face. I believe it said that Jesus. When the scientists found out that Jesus he got blinded in, I believe the right eye, something like that, because the thorns that they used. Ooh, I mean, this just showed how cruel the Romans were. The thorns that they used, I believe that they said it blinded his right eye, and then so like it basically proves what you were saying, and him having that
yo,
vision and
oh
knowing
my
what he had
gosh.
to go through.
I'm about
No,
to
I'm telling you.
I'm about to rewatch the whole Chosen, bro. It's so many good parts. Like the whole crucified part wasn't in the Chosen. It ended off where Jesus betrayed him, but before that, there's so many other good things, bro. Like the belief, one of the Roman soldiers, one of the Roman leaders of where they were mainly at, which I forgot where it was. It wasn't Jerusalem, but it was somewhere. One of the Roman soldiers like ended up believing in Jesus, and it changed his whole life, and he was like helping Jesus, and it was a Roman soldier. Like Jesus changed people who really came to him, bro. It was so bro, it's so good, bro. Like really just taking it and digest it, bro. I'm about to watch the whole thing again. But yeah, nah, yeah, the stuff that was going on is just crazy, bro. But one thing that you said, Ben, that I feel like was really tough that resonated with me, and this also came up in the show because um it was John and James who were asking to be at Jesus's left hand and his right hand once they get to heaven because they were thinking in their own earthly fleshly understandings, and he let them know that, and he said the same thing to them as he said to the Pharisees, that at this point he said
Yeah,
whoever wants to be first must be last, or whoever wants to be exalted must be humbled, and whoever is humbled must be exalted. And that made me realize, like, that's facts, bro. Like that's what happened to him, and that's what happens to a lot of people who, you know what I'm saying, like do like great things. They must be exalted and they also must be humbled at one point. Like Jesus, you know what I'm saying, was exalted as a king, but he must be first and last. And that's what he is. You know what I'm saying? He was exalted once like as the Christ when people knew that he was like, you know what I'm saying, the Messiah, when he was healing all these people and all
yeah,
this stuff like that. But he was also last, you know what I'm saying, when he was crucified and tortured and all this stuff. And that's what happens with a lot of people, like even when people a lot of people who get rich, a lot of people who do good, you know what I'm saying? You could even think like about yourself. Like I know me, football season, we were last because everybody was calling us trash when we were 0 and 6. And then we
oh
put in,
yeah,
yeah, when we put in the work, we were the best team in the county and we were exalted. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, it's something about that just hit where it's like
yeah.
whoever wants to be exalted must be humbled. Whoever is humbled must be, it will also be exalted or something like that. And that just showed a
Because
lot.
initially that's you.
Yeah.
Because initially that season, I don't know if y'all remember, and I believe Ant left though for Largo, something like that. Initially that season, if you remember, we were being so goofy in the beginning of the season. We weren't
Mm,
taking it really seriously and all that. And it's till we were like 0-6. I remember it very well. That's when we started taking it very serious. And I
mm,
think it proves what you were saying, Duncan. When you work, when you have God on your side and you work, He's already got it for you. But you have to do your part also too as well, which is faith.
fact, fact.
Yeah, bro. Dang, I forgot what I was about to say, bro. I was about to cook, bro. I forgot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me think real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn, what was y'all just saying, bro?
All right, but
Joshy, what was you just
I'm gonna just reset. I bet. It was a part where John and James were asking to be on Jesus' right and his left, and it's the same thing that he said to the Pharisees that Ben actually said that they want to be at the top, but whoever wants to be at the top must also be at the bottom. Whoever is exalted
Oh, I
also.
remember.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I remember. Yeah, because like basically like pressure makes diamonds, bro. Like the more stuff you go through, it matures you and it helps you grow into and to be able to like handle your purpose. So
Mm,
like the trials tribulations that we go through now, it's to like build us up to mature us and to mature us in our faith and with Christ. So then once like our true purpose is being done, we could sustain it. Like we could and it's also be so we could sustain the blessings that God gives us. 'Cause not everything that God has to bless us with, we can't handle it all right now.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's why he puts us in a season of isolation so we could learn more about him, so we could grow stronger in faith. Then he can give us the blessings that we desire for.
Mm,
Then he could bless us, and then he could help us work towards our purpose. You know what I'm saying? And if we're too distracted, we can't hear God's voice, then how are we ever gonna follow with his will that he has for us for our purpose in life? You know what I'm saying?
mm. That's
Yeah.
facts. I needed to hear that. I need to hear that. That's fact. That's
Yeah.
fact. Fact.
And
And
that's
I was about to tell you something. This is one of the most beautiful things about the Lord. Were you saying something else?
nah, you good.
This is one of the most beautiful things about the Lord. Um, when you talk about when we have these types of topics and we're talking about God and stuff, it makes you want to sin less if you're like being truthfully honest
Yes.
in your heart. And that's why I tell people I give this people this slang, this saying: the more of God, the less the sin; the less of God, the more the sin.
Mm,
Because the more you learn about God and you start, try to seek Him, there's times He's going to test you. I believe that's why sometimes we fall short and we sin because He's testing us. If you do, you guys get what I'm saying
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
right
get
there.
100% what you're
And
saying. Yeah.
that's why I made the first video about it, because when I really truthfully started to follow Jesus Christ, it wasn't not so long ago. It's actually this year, pretty much.
Hmm.
Because I knew stuff about God. I was always a Christian, but before I didn't know God like that. It was more me. I was seeing God more of my parents' God, so I'm just gonna
Yeah,
follow Him.
it was more of a
You
religion
know
and
what
less
I'm
of a
saying?
relationship type. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, relation, and that's why I tell people that Christianity is not a religion. Yeah, there's some rules and there's some commandments, things you have to follow, but Christianity is more like a relationship between you and God.
Hmm.
You say, like you loving God, you asking God for things, you trying your best to forgive and asking God to take away some sinful desires. That's more like a relationship and thing. And there's a pastor that, even though I'm kind of a little bit not kind of a little bit doubtful with some of his sermons. His name is Michael Todd. But one thing I will say I like about Michael Todd, I don't know if you guys know him, but one thing about him is that he keeps it real with people. Like he doesn't hide it. Like he said, sometimes he falls short in this area, and that's something I love. I think like more pastors need to be doing, like keeping it real. And I believe all of us, we need to read and study the Word of God, because some of these pastors, they make mistakes. And
Hmm.
it's proven, and this doesn't mean they're fake men and men and women of God, because they're obviously true men and women of God, but they make mistakes. And we as Christians, we need to read the Word, because it's said in the Bible that there's false prophets, false teachers out here, and we don't want to be deceived. So yeah, man, that's just one of the most beautiful things about God. When you have these types of topics, conversations, these discussions, you don't want to sin anymore. You want to sin less. That's what I love about it.
Bro, that's 100% real, bro. That's also why I like these talks too, bro. There's multiple times, even right now, talking to you guys right now, where I'm realizing that like what I'm doing is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Something that I was doing is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Something that I'm going to do is wrong and I shouldn't do it. And it alters it. You feel me? Because that's facts. The more you talk about the Lord and the more you're like acknowledging and thinking about the Lord really truly, the less you'll want to sin because you'll
Yeah,
understand it's wrong and you'll understand why you shouldn't do it. And you'll understand, you know what I'm saying, what this really means. Because a lot of times I feel like when we sin, we don't really think about what it really means. We just do it. You know what I'm saying? And we keep on going. But once you realize what it really means and what you're really doing and who your Lord really is, then you'll be like, okay, I don't even want to do that no more. So that's fact.
yeah,
Yeah, bro, it's conviction, bro. Like even the last time we had a Bible study with Layla and them, like even like what Layla was talking about, when she was saying like how like people think they could read a sermon one day and then now feed them for the rest of the week. That gave me conviction, bro,
Hmm.
because it wasn't like that big of a span, but like sometimes I'll just read and then I'll take like 1 or 2 day break and I'll
Yeah.
read again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we're supposed to read every day. Every day's a new thing.
yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
God brings
You know,
new.
I'm gonna be 100 with you. That's something actually I was struggling with last week. As a matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
it was like I went 3 days straight, and I didn't even realize I was like of course I prayed and all of that, but that's not what you're only supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah.
that's the problem with the problem with our Christianity here in the United States of America, American Christianity for us. A lot of us, because we have works, we got things to do. We wake up really late in the morning, and I feel like we as Christians we need to like wake up like really early, like seek God first early in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Start your day with him. Like right now, you do, and like I said, you need to have that discipline and that motivation. Even right now, this wasn't originally what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to do it. You know what I originally wanted to do? Actually, I wanted to go and watch some NBA playoffs right now.
Uh,
As a matter of fact, one of the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers, they're playing right
yeah.
now, but. I was like, this is, you have to sacrifice this. This is just entertainment. This is not going to, help you grow, help
Facts.
you develop as a
Facts.
person. They're making their own money. And I was like, you know what? They go to this Bible, this fellowship thing right here.
Right, that's fact, bro. That's fact. I was feeling the same way too. Earlier, when Ant called me, I was watching a Fight React, watching. He was reacting to the top NBA clips, and I was mad, and I was irritated about something else that's going on in my life, and I really didn't want to talk to nobody. But then I'm like, nah, there's nothing bigger than this. You feel me?
Yeah.
There's nothing bigger than this. Even if I just have to sit down and listen, I'll just sit down and listen. You know what I'm saying? But being surrendered is also like doing that. And honestly, this is so good, bro. Like I feel like, you know what I'm saying, we're getting comfortable in it right now, but it should be to a point where we're doing it every night and every morning. Because I know at least when I get off these calls, it like refreshes me, just like how it used to be at Bible study, and it makes me feel better. Imagine I could start my day off every day with this, bro. Every day would be like I'll be like on a better path versus if I didn't have this. So
Yeah.
fact, but
Yeah, yeah. And that's what Satan is trying. Satan wants us to not. He wants us to do less of this, and that's why I believe we as Christians we need to fellowship with one another. We need to check out on each other because it said in the Bible we're at war. I believe in Ephesians it said that we're at war
mm,
with this Satan and the enemy in his camp. So there's a lot of times that we have all of us we have our sins to deal with, but it also said something that we're saints, so we sin, but we don't sin willingly.
hmm
Do you guys get what I'm saying? That like a sinner is someone that sins willingly. They don't care at all. A
mm,
saint to me is someone that sins, but they ask God for forgiveness and they try to read their word. That's
yeah,
how I feel like we're in that category. Do you guys get what I'm saying right here,
yeah, yeah. I know what you're
there?
saying.
Because it's spiritual
And that's
warfare.
why,
Hmm.
yeah. And I believe we as Christians, a lot of us, we forget that there's a spirit world out there. Like some of these things we see out in the world, the homosexuality stuff. I mean, the Christians being murdered, persecuted, people getting angry. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if it's the same with you guys. Ever since I've been following Jesus Christ, I've lost a whole lot of friends,
No,
a whole lot.
facts, bro. I don't fit into no type, you know what I'm saying? None of that, bro. I really just be just me, bro. I feel that.
Yeah. I've lost a whole lot. I'm telling you, I'm being very realistic. I've lost a whole lot of friends. A lot of people, I've lost them, but it's okay. You get what I'm saying? And it just shows you, it shows us that we're at war, because ever since I've been posting videos about God, I don't know if I'm the only one. Some people, I get hate comments. They laugh at me, something like that.
Hmm.
I just pray for them. As a matter of fact, I even said, you know what? I'm not going to be scared to represent Jesus Christ. I'm just going to pray for them and text them
Exactly.
that I pray that the Lord opens their eyes. And so I don't know if I'm the only one that receives those type of messages, but I do receive those messages once in a while. People will just attack me based off my beliefs, my comments.
Yeah, bro. Just ignore them, bro. The Lord will always deal with them, bro. Keep doing your thing, bro. Cause
Yeah,
you feel me. Yeah,
yeah,
like I was saying last week, bro. It really is like two different worlds, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Because I've lost a lot
yeah,
of followers doing it, but I've also gained a lot of followers. Like people who want to hear are gonna listen. People who don't are gonna leave, and
yeah.
that's how you filter the real ones in your life. But go ahead, Ant.
Yeah, this is a good thing, bro. Don't let it deter you, bro. Don't let it lead you off the path. Like I was the same way at first. Like I was scared to like use the platform I had to like talk about God, but then I realized like if I'm ashamed of God, He's gonna be ashamed of me in the day of judgment. You know what
Facts,
Exactly. Yeah, that's I
facts.
made a video about it, and that's why I feel like it said in the Bible that in Matthew, many will say to the Lord, 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 have we not prophesied and done these things in your name? And I don't know if you guys know the scripture I'm saying, and the Lord will say, depart from me, I never knew you, you who works in iniquity. I believe because I believe the Bible there, he's telling us that that not only believers won't enter into the kingdom of heaven, people that are believers, some believers, not all, but some believers will not enter into the kingdom of heaven. That's what I
Right.
believe God is even is telling us. He says only those who do the will of my Father will enter the kingdom of heaven. That's like, oh yeah, I can't be afraid to represent Jesus Christ. And I believe he even said in the Bible what you were saying. And if you're a lover of the world, then there's no like God, and then you're not a lover of God. There's no Holy Spirit in you, something like that.
Facts,
Yeah,
bro.
and it also says, what's the worth to gain the whole world and to lose your soul? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, we're in this world, but it's like it doesn't matter. Like, it's all vanity, bro. Like,
Hmm.
it's gonna be here for a time, but then at the end of the day, are we gonna use this world and let us deter us from our eternity in heaven? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna
yeah,
waste our life on what's fun for the world? But then when it comes to that day where it's for eternity, then we're gonna be in hell. You know what I'm saying?
That's facts, bro.
yeah,
And you saying that, bro, puts a lot of things into perspective and makes me feel better about a lot of different things. You feel me? Because when I'm angry, or upset about something, because I've been upset about something lately, it's like I shouldn't even let this make me think sinful or make me think this type of way. Hold on. But yeah, I shouldn't even let these things like make me think this type of way because it's just earthly things that don't last or don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It doesn't just count towards you having riches and prioritizing riches over the Lord. It could like Layla was saying, it could be everyday things. You feel me? It could be you having hate for someone in your heart. You shouldn't have hate for someone in your heart over the love that the Lord is telling you to have for someone. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because whatever that person did isn't gonna last on this earth. It's not nothing. It's not worth your eternity with the Lord. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Same thing with
And
lust
we're
and
all
all these
sinners.
other things. You feel me? So thing about that is it helps me a lot and brings me a lot of discernment. So yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, it's all vanity, bro. Like it's really not gonna matter in the end, bro. Not none of the worldly things that we have right now, not the map books we have, not the clothes, not the money. It's all not gonna matter, bro.
Yeah,
But
bro.
the works that we do and us being obedient and pleasing the Lord, that's what's gonna matter.
That's fact.
Being
Yo, I
good
was
and
thinking about. No, no, no. Go ahead, Ant. My bad. You were just saying something. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
I'm ready to say we could actually learn a lot from the Pharisees because the Pharisees were so like prideful, like they couldn't even accept like truth when it was like Lee blasted in their face. Like they
Hmm.
Lee couldn't even accept the work of God, and they actually blasphemed against the Holy Spirit, saying that the works that Jesus did was demonic. You know what I'm saying? Like they actually couldn't even take in and realize like that Jesus was King. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And it's
Yeah,
because they
because
were
the
so
hearts were
prideful
hardened.
and their hearts were hardened. Their hearts was hardened to God and the Holy Spirit. And that's what we should be scared of because those people that God's gonna say, depart from me for I never knew you. You know what I'm saying?
They
But
were believers. Well, they weren't
Like,
believers, but they thought they were believers. They thought they were
yeah,
saved, and and those are the people I fear for the most. There was the Pastor Anthony Philip Mitchell was right because the unbelievers, a lot of them, like they do it out of ignorance. But for those people, the reason why I feel scared for the people that believed that they were saved but they were not is because I believe in the Bible it is say that those people they're going to receive more punishment than the ones that did it out of
Yeah,
ignorance
bro.
because they knew something like that.
Yeah.
And that's all like, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And yo, Joszy, what you were saying, it made me think about, and what you and Ant was saying, it made me think about Jesus and Jesus story parable about Lazarus and the rich man, and how the rich man thought he had everything and all that, but he realized that, and I believe the God was even speaking to me, and he was saying that a lot of rich people are not going to enter into the kingdom of heaven
Mm.
through that parable. But Lazarus, he entered the kingdom of heaven. And I was like, yeah, like what does it profit for a man to gain the whole entire world, but to lose his soul? Because hell is forever. The lake of
facts.
fire is forever.
Yeah, facts.
And I
And
heard hell
Facts.
is not even the final destination.
yeah, bro. And facts. And
That's my,
in the whole story with the rich man, bro, about this some pastor was talking about it actually this Wednesday when I went to this ministry at my school. But the reason why, like, that was like the way it was because I feel like the main reason why was the pastor was saying was because he wasn't fully surrendered to God. I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but there was a rich man who, you know what I'm saying, he was rich, but he was not only rich, but he practiced good morals. Like he had good morals, he was a nice person, he did this and he did that, right? But that's when Jesus, or God, wait, was it Jesus? I'm pretty sure it was Jesus. Jesus told him to sell everything he have and give it away. Sell everything. You know what I'm saying? And um he when he heard Jesus say that, he was like, he was distressed. You know what I'm saying? He was sad, and he departed from the Lord because he wasn't truly surrendered to the Lord. Even though he followed him, and he like followed all the religious practices and stuff like that, and he was morally, like, kept all the moral commandments. He was not actually fully surrendered to the Lord. He was surrendered to his possessions, because when Jesus asked him to
Yeah,
give it away, he never did it. But yeah.
yeah, and it's
yeah,
because he didn't give to the poor. Because I believe that Lazarus, he was poor, and he would like I believe that liked the crumbs of the rich man's food tables, and I believe that's one reason why we all know that now we know the reason why. That's one of the reasons why he didn't enter the kingdom of heaven, because he didn't give to the poor. I was just thinking, wow, God is saying that. No wonder God is saying He hates pride and all that stuff, and that's why I don't know if it's me, but you guys get where I'm going. I believe the Lord, He was telling me that a lot of rich people, they're not going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, and one of it is because of their pride.
Hmm.
Do you get what I'm saying? And because a lot of rich people nowadays, they look down on other people. Even y'all know the situation that happened with Ice Spice or something like that.
Yeah. Wait, no, what happened?
No. Even the girl slapped Ice Spice in Los Angeles.
I think I did see that.
I
Yeah,
didn't
even
see
though I
that.
felt like the girl was doing too much, and I can understand why Ice Spice would get mad, because I'm not going to lie, I would get mad if that was me too.
Hmm.
But you can tell by Ice Spice's demeanor that she was looking down already on the female, and that's something that I pray to God. Like, God, if I ever make it into a high place, because I don't, if I'm anointed by you and I ever make it to a high place, I don't want to forget you, because I feel like a lot of rich people, when they make it into high places, they get all the money, all the fame, all that vanity stuff, they start to forget about God, because they act like they don't need God. And I believe it's related to, King Saul's story, and how,
Yeah.
he lost his position as king. And
Hmm.
then not only that, which king was it during the times of Daniel? King Nebuchadnezzar, something like that, where the Nebuchadnezzar lost his kingdom for like 7 years, something like that. He told him that he would eat grass, something like that.
Oh, are you asking?
Y'all go ahead.
Oh,
No, no,
oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
y'all go ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, exactly, bro. No, yeah, I agree. You feel me? And it's just typical to look at. You feel me? It's kind of like basic life things. When you do store up a whole lot of possessions on this earth, you really do place those things over the Lord because you lose sight of what's really important because all you're thinking about and all you're putting towards your energy is those possessions. You feel me? That's one reason why I
Yeah,
feel like it because it's not no different. You know what I'm saying? Like if a man is always thinking about a woman, he's not ever gonna have time to think about the Lord. That's what we were talking about last week,
yeah,
and what the whole like idolizing like romantic relationships over like a relationship with God is the same thing, kind of. You know what I'm saying? You're idolizing money or you're idolizing these earthly things over the Lord, and that's what makes it so much harder for you to get into heaven and stuff like that. But yeah,
Where it said,
I feel like it falls into the same category.
uh, yeah,
I'm sorry, my bad, guys. I had to go and eat something for a second.
Okay, my computer's actually about to start dying. It's at like 14.
Yeah, my thing's at 18%.
Yo, and you say you're gonna be up later, right?
yeah.
All right, bet. I'm gonna let my computer charge and we could hop on later with Layla and Riley and them.
All right,
All right.
bet.
What time? What time?
Like probably like 12.
Yeah, that's
12 at
cool.
night?
Yeah. Yo,
I'm gonna see if I can make that happen. I'm gonna see.
I bet.
Okay,
All right,
I'll
bet.
just text you. Yeah.
All right,
All
all
right,
right,
man. Thank you.
all right, no problem, no
All right,
problem. It
bet.
was a pleasure. Y'all have a good night.
Um,